Hello and welcome, Tarunima ma'am, to this interview session with Legal File. I am Takshama Maheshwari, and today we have our guest Tarunima Vajpayee with us. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us. We are grateful.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Okay, so the first question for today's chit chat session with you will be that tell us something about your college life. Like, how was it and how did you enjoy it?
Okay, for my college life, I was in college for 5 years straight, and it was a law college. So a lot of work, um, a lot of things apart from studies, and it was crazy. Because
Definitely.
I was a very enthusiastic student, and I think I wanted to do too many things. So apart from attending classes and studies, I was the convener of the legal aid cell.
Oh.
I was busy finding more internships and part-time jobs and working with NGOs, volunteering on weekends. Um, so all of that was a little crazy. So I don't know, the 5 years just went by like that.
Yeah, same because I am also a law student and I am in a second year. So the 3 years are gonna be roller coaster for me also. Okay, so how many internships did you do and in which field?
So I think I did around 5 or 6,
Oh,
because I've done my law from Amity, and
okay.
we did not get a lot of winter breaks.
Hmm.
We had only summer breaks, which were meant for doing internships. And
Okay.
our classes were also such that it was impossible to do running internships because
Hmm.
we had classes all day. So I could not do a lot of internships, but whatever 5 or 6 internships I did, I did them with my full heart and dedication, and not just, going around and having fun kind.
Yeah.
So that was one experience.
So what do you think that getting internship is a difficult task or it was easy for you every time?
So it wasn't easy for sure because I am a first generation lawyer,
Okay.
and I did not know, any senior lawyers, or there was nobody to help me around in this field. It's a completely new field for my family. So, we all tried, my parents tried, whoever, friend or friends they knew to get internships initially. But then later on, once I found my feet and I understood how the field
Hmm.
works, then I started making contacts on my own and applying for internships on my own. So it wasn't very easy for sure, but it's doable even for a first generation lawyer. If you work a little hard, if you know how to find ways, then you can get it done.
Yeah, definitely. I'm also first generation lawyer from my family. So yeah, it is difficult to get internship. So what drove you towards this field, legal field? What was your thought behind it? Since you said that you were a first generation lawyer. So what was it that wanted you to become a lawyer?
So my career path and my life decisions have been very different from others, and very unconventional. So my reason for law was not because I wanted to become a very good lawyer. I was inspired by some TV show or by seeing someone, not at all. Um, my only reason for doing law was that I thought that this is one subject or one course that not you're not only studying, but it's adding a lot of value to you yourself. You get empowered by this. There are so many things that you can do. If a person is very thorough with the law of the country, then they are actually very powerful.
Yeah.
So if we see even a police person, a constable or somebody, they might not be as educated as a MBBS doctor, but yet they hold a lot of power because they know about the laws. So this was something that, I thought is very important for everyone. I thought that it's very important to
Yeah.
study law and understand that. And I always wanted to get into the social work sector.
Yeah.
So that, when after discussing with my parents, they also guided me that this is something that would actually help you in your social work if you want to do, because this way you'll be able to help people.
Yeah.
And we see how people are cheated every day and made fool of, especially people who are illiterate. I mean,
Yeah.
forget about educated people, even they get cheated just
Mm.
because they don't know the laws. But people, who come from very poor background, who are illiterate, they are treated very badly because they have no idea about the laws.
Yeah.
So this was one reason why I chose this field. That no matter what, I think it's very important for me to study law.
Yeah. And it's so diverse. We get to know a lot of things. Like, yeah. So
Absolutely.
you said that you are into, like, your interests are in social work and everything. So how did it come up? Like, it was from the starting, with very starting, or is there any story behind that also? Like, your parents are always into
Hmm.
social work. So what was it? Because not everyone, like, I am the person, I'm not into social work. It's like I
Yeah.
like to do it if I'll get a chance,
Hmm.
but I'll not
Hmm.
deliberately go and do social work. So what came into
Hmm.
your mind and what was your thought process?
So just how you very rightly said, not everyone wants to do it
Yeah,
full time.
exactly.
People want to do charity. So
Yeah.
charity and social work is very different. So
Okay.
people want to do charity. Most of the times, I feel they do it because they feel that they come from a very privileged position and they can give something to somebody who does not have that privilege. Some people also do it to make themselves feel good.
Yeah.
Um, so that is different. Social work is something you have to really dedicate your life. So, we all choose our path. Now, if
Yeah.
somebody wants to become a doctor, they dedicate their life to that field.
Mm.
So, any profession, not only doctor, engineer, architect, whatever you do, you dedicate your life to it. Similarly, social work, I know it's not very conventional because the first thing that when you choose a career, it comes is how will you earn, and when you choose a career, you need to earn.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't have any story behind this. That one day something happened and I felt I wanted to do it. Um, the only thing, I was a very mediocre student throughout my school life also,
Okay.
and I didn't know what I want to do in life. What I want to become. When you ask a child,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I was absolutely clueless. I didn't know. I didn't have any special skills. So, but my parents and my extended family, they've always believed a lot in charity. I'll again say charity
Okay.
and not social work.
Yeah,
Charity and a little bit of helping people. If they see that somebody is really in need of help, then they'll go out of their way and do whatever they can. So
yeah.
these things are always, I could see these things as
Yeah,
a
from the
child,
very starting. Yeah.
and they took me along for that. And while growing up, I realized that doing these things makes me happy.
Yeah.
And this is the probably out of doing everything, this is the thing that is making me happy. So I
Yeah.
used to say that मैं बड़े होके ना मैं अपना एनजीओ खोलूंगी. So
Yeah.
as a child, my parents were like कि हाँ कुछ कर लेगी जब बहुत पैसे कमाएगी तब कुछ अपना एनजीओ वगैरह खोल लेगी चैरिटी करने के लिए. They also didn't take it very seriously.
Yeah.
And there was no fixed goal in life कि एनजीओ खोलना है मतलब तो क्या करना है, कैसे एनजीओ चलता है, और for what cause. There are
Yeah.
thousands of causes in our
Exactly.
country itself. So for what cause? There was no clarity as such. So that's why so till 12th there was no clarity. ठीक है, I decided to do law, but I was always volunteering with NGOs.
Okay.
My first internship in law school was in Dr. Kiran Bedi's NGO.
Wow, that's
Um,
great.
so I was interning, I was volunteering with different NGOs that were working for different causes. Now, Dr. Kiran Bedi's NGO that works for prison inmates and in rural areas to provide legal aid and mediations and all those things. And I was
Mm.
also volunteering with NGOs like People for Animals, that is run by Menaka Gandhi for animals and all of that. So diverse things I've done. So,
Yeah.
and I like doing everything. So, any cause you pick up, any social cause, I was happy working for that.
Yeah.
So, slowly, after the first year, second year of my college, um, I also visited environmental law camp by Mr. MC Mehta. Now
Okay.
he's God for
Yeah.
anyone who uh, is interested in environment. So
Yeah.
I attended that camp, and I think that gave me a lot of perspective in life, and that helped me in
Yeah.
choosing my path. Because not because what I heard from Mr. Mehta there or other speakers, but from what I experienced there with all the other participants who were young boys and girls of my
Yeah.
age and doing so much for environment already. So that pushed me a lot. That okay, these people are like what 19, 20 years
Exactly.
old, and they're doing so much in whatever area they're living in, whatever part of the country, they're doing so much for environment and other causes. So that gave me a lot of perspective, and I realized my love for environment and animals.
Yeah.
So that is one cause that became very close to my heart after that.
Yeah.
So yeah, so after law school, then after briefly doing litigation, I felt very sad that what am I doing in life? And this is not, what was making me happy. And I could
Yeah.
not continue with any social work while I was doing litigation because
Hmm.
there's practically no time.
Time.
Uh, so I finally decided to leave that and get into social work completely.
That was such a great decision because it takes a huge courage, because people say a lot of things. Most of the time
Yeah,
family also says that if you'll go leaving law profession, if you'll go to social work, how will you manage and everything. But
they were
happiness
very
matters
scared.
the most.
Yeah.
Happiness matters the most, yeah. So we know that you have started your venture, that is EcoSoft Solutions. So tell our audience something about it.
So EcoSwap Solutions is basically an organization working for environment, and there are three verticals to it. One is we retail in eco-friendly items like a bamboo toothbrush or a steel straw or a neem wood comb,
Yeah.
and there are 20, 30 items like this that are daily use items, so that
Yeah.
we can avoid plastic and harmful things in our daily lifestyles.
Yeah.
And how I procure these items is with, there are some women self-help groups that are making it, or some small artisans. So that way I make sure that they are being paid well, and I get stuff directly from them instead of buying from some big company.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to keep my margins low so that more people can afford buying eco-friendly items. Because
Yeah.
most often what happens is that eco-friendly items are so expensive that not everybody can
Exactly.
afford it. So that is one vertical. Second is we are consulting corporates and their CSR projects that they have, corporate social responsibility, so that they can invest their money on environment projects. So
Yeah.
we do consulting for them. We also do different things like, we are also doing some artwork in Noida right now. So on public
Okay.
walls, we are doing artwork to spread message
Yeah, I've
on
seen it
waste
because
management.
I'm living in Noida only, and I've seen the walls these days on the
Yeah.
metro line. Yeah, that's
Yeah, so
great.
but what you've seen mostly in the city is not much about waste management and all of that. That's more of beautification so that
Yeah.
people don't dirty the walls. We are also working in the rural areas of Noida, the urban
Okay.
villages.
Okay.
There we are spreading messages via paintings, to educate people about no littering
Yeah.
and waste management and all of
Mm.
those things. So that is one aspect, and the third is spreading awareness through workshops and
Yeah.
other modes, so that we can educate more people
Mhm.
about the environmental crisis that is happening.
Yeah.
So this is EcoSwap.
Yeah, so that's a great initiative. So as you said that you've always been interested in environment and animal for saving them. So tell us something, some incidents that you have faced during this, that you thought that environment is being depleted a lot in these days, in these times. So something that your venture has done for them, some incident maybe.
So Uh, so I don't know if I can pick out one incident because
Yeah,
every day I see something or the other happening.
exactly.
And this has been, with me for years. Now, my mother and her mother, so my grandmother, they've
Yeah,
been very conscious about this since, I mean, I don't know what, 50, 60 years. When plastic was, sort of introduced in the way it is now,
yeah,
single use plastic wasn't so prevalent 60 years, 70 years back. But
mm,
even at that time, my grandmother, she was so conscious that, my mom says that she did not used to take plastic bags and all of that, and
wow.
she carried her cloth bag. And that time the plastic had just started, and I
Yeah,
remember that even when I was young, I remember mom fighting with vegetable vendors that why are you giving, when I'm telling you not to put the vegetable in that, I'm getting my own bag, then why are you doing this?
mm,
And people around used to laugh on her that
yeah,
what stupidity is it, and
mm,
they didn't realize the effect of it that time 20 years back.
yeah,
And a lot of times it happened that, suppose you're going from somewhere, mom doesn't have a bag, but she wants to buy some fruits. So probably she's picking us from school or something. So she used to
yeah.
ask us that take out your notebooks from the bag, and she used to get the fruits in the bag. That, you can take out solutions if you want to.
Want to, definitely.
So it is very easy saying that, oh, I'm not carrying my bag, I forgot. Okay, let me just, take a polythene. Big deal.
Yeah,
But you don't realize it's a single use item once you use it. Or chalo, if you're very careful, you'll use it twice or thrice. But where is it going then? You
yeah,
know? So these are the things that I grew up with. And when, in school time, you live in a very protected kind of environment.
yeah,
So when I went to college, then this thing came in from me that when I used to see people spitting chewing gum on the road, my own friends,
yeah.
and just eating something from disposable, throwing it away. So I started objecting
Okay.
because initially, you don't want to argue unnecessarily for small things, but this
Yeah.
was not small for me. And I used to argue, I used to tell them, why are you doing this? And start with my own lecture that do you know what happens? So
Exactly.
I was able to like change habits of few of the people. And apart from my own friends, suppose I'm driving and if I see somebody throwing something out of the car, I'll make sure to chase that person and tell them that what they are doing is wrong. I just now,
Yeah,
I just can't stop myself from doing it. That at least, I feel like it's my responsibility that if this other person is not able to understand, then I need to make that person understand.
yeah.
If I
At
let it be,
least
then
some of us
everybody wants to let it.
yeah, at least some of us has to take the responsibility. One person
Yeah.
has to start at least. So not you, we also, like our audience also, just start doing it because it's high time now. Yeah.
There's nothing to be scared, just don't go and start abusing them or something. Just, very
Yeah.
politely go
Yeah.
and tell them that do you think what you did was right? Do you
Yeah.
think you should have thrown it? And everybody knows it is wrong. We
Everybody.
all are taught in school only that it is wrong, but it's a habit.
Definitely. And nobody wants to change it because we somewhere feel that it is so difficult to, throw a particular disposable thing in the dustbin. So, so we know that you started this venture during the pandemic in 2020. So, was there any obstacle that you faced during this time, or you think that if there wouldn't have been pandemic, so you would have rised a lot in your venture or something like that, or you're satisfied? Like,
Uh,
yeah,
to
this
the
is
contrary, actually, everything just happened opposite of what you just said.
okay.
Um, EcoShop would not have started had the pandemic not been there.
Okay.
Because right before the pandemic, I had just left my job with an
Okay.
organization and I was applying for others. And the
Okay.
pandemic happened and the lockdown happened, and I still kept on applying because we didn't know that it will last so long.
Yeah.
But after a month or two, I realized that this is a long term thing, and first people stopped hiring, then they
Yeah.
started firing people.
Exactly.
So I understood that this is not happening, and something needs to be done. So then
Done.
my friends and family, they pushed me that, you've learned so much over the years and you've worked so hard for other people.
Yeah.
uh, why don't you at least try and do something of your own? And even if you fail, I mean, what will you lose? You don't have anything right now in hand. You're not
Yeah.
leaving some opportunity to do this. So
Yeah.
I started. So that way, no corona, so no ecosoft. So I'm very happy this happened. And touch wood, there were no difficulties. Thankfully, I've met very beautiful and amazing people in my journey, even while I was in law school, after law school, in my social work, and I had a lot of support.
Yeah.
And without that, I wouldn't have been able to do what I'm doing. Because we alone can't do anything. I
Yeah.
alone can't make a difference in the world.
Yeah.
It's only with the support of all these people that I'm able
People.
to do what I'm able to do.
That's great. That's great. At least someone has the good story regarding Corona and pandemic to tell other
Yeah.
people. Because most of the students like us are very like we are just frustrated at our homes.
I understand.
Yeah. So, since you know a lot about environmental aspects now, so what according to you is the gravest, environmental difficulty that we are facing in today's world, and any message that you want to spread regarding that?
So, there are many, but
Yeah.
there are a few that are not being talked about, and there are a few that are being talked about a lot, but nothing is happening
Nothing.
on ground. So if I start with the things that are being talked about, but nothing is happening, is the single-use plastic.
Yeah.
Because I can see that when we talk about waste and waste segregation, that is, at least I can see from this whole Swachh Sarvekshan happening, that has started happening in cities and everywhere around the world, around at least a country.
Yeah.
But single-use plastic, a lot of talk is going on, but nothing is happening. Whether there's lobbying going on or whatever the
Yeah.
issue is, but it needs to stop immediately because the kind of damage that is done already, it is so scary.
It
When
is.
you actually go deep down into the research, you will be shaken that what have we done, and it is affecting our lives. There's so much microplastic in our body right now. Forget about the oceans or the mountains. Now it
Yeah.
has entered our body. What are we waiting for? So
Exactly.
this is one issue. Second, things that are not being spoken about, I can say, is the fashion industry, is the cloth industry. I
Yeah.
was just speaking to someone today, and I was so glad they pointed it out that we want to do something about raising awareness about the pollution happening due to fashion industry. Nobody is speaking about it. I'm like, I'm so glad you are taking up this project because people are not aware, people are
Yeah.
not speaking about it, and it is
Mm.
a booming industry. It is one of the highest polluters, not only in our country, in the world.
World, yeah. Because
Because if you,
not even people don't know that how it is polluting and how it is affecting the
yes,
environment. So no
and
awareness.
we so insensitively and in our greed keep on buying clothes.
Yeah.
We are always looking for the cheapest options available, and clothes are very cheap nowadays.
Yeah.
You see the industry running in Gujarat, it is
Yeah.
crazy. I see so many boutiques and small designers coming up in Noida itself, and the way that they are disposing of their waste, the cloth bits, is
Yeah.
heart wrenching. Have you thought if you go to a tailor or a boutique, you must have seen how many orders
Small
they get,
pieces. Yeah. The small
and
pieces of clothes they leave in their.
every day they have big cartons or big drums
Yeah.
every day full of those katarans, those
Yeah.
small cloth bits going into the garbage, and it all gets mixed up and it is landing in the landfills. Now we need to understand what are the cloth bits. They are not all cotton, they are
Yeah.
synthetic, they do not decompose. Even if some of them are cotton, they are not naturally dyed, they are dyed with chemical dye. It is
Exactly.
polluting our soil so much, and nobody is ready to take any responsibility about it. So this little initiative that I took was, all these cloth bits that can be picked up from these boutiques and all. So we started. There's a self-help group, women self-help group. They make beautiful scrunchies and clips
Oh,
and
yeah.
earrings from these, because those pieces are so small that you can't make
Yeah.
anything else. A
Yeah.
lot of times you can't even make a mask because they are so small,
Oh,
and
yeah,
that's
yeah.
the problem. The smaller they are, the more problem it is. Microfiber and microplastics,
Yeah.
uh, these are not even spoken about right now,
Mhm.
and the
Yeah.
problem is already a lot of, I know about these things because I work for environment, I've done researches.
Hmm.
But a lay person doesn't know what a microfiber or what a microplastic is, how is it affecting them.
Definitely.
So these are some things that, are highest polluters, and we really need to do something immediately about this.
Yeah, I'm just so impressed and shocked at the same time, because even I was not aware of the fact that these small clothes are doing such pollution for our environment, or such
We
a,
never think about it.
yeah, we
The
never
problem
think.
we never
Exactly.
think about.
Yeah, definitely. So now we'll move on to our rapid fire round, a fun rapid fire round. So you have to give the answer fast. So you just try
Okay.
maybe. Okay.
Okay.
So how was your attendance in college? Like percentage maybe.
Always above 90%.
Wow. That's great. So was there any professor that used to cut your attendance deliberately maybe?
Yeah, yeah. I still don't understand why. And I went up to her that what is the issue? I mean, I'm sitting in the class right in front of you, and I was not even a backbencher. So I just didn't realize what the problem is.
Yeah.
So yeah, that happens.
Definitely happens to most of us.
Because
Okay,
I was
so
very scared, na, my attendance shouldn't go below 90.
the 90 percentage is there. So, what was the worst punishment that you got? Maybe in school or college, both. Any incident that worst punishment? Maybe from your parents.
School only. I think we were just made to stand outside the class. Nothing
Yeah.
much. I was not a very naughty child, so yeah.
Okay. So, best experience during this venture, since the venture you have started, best experience of yours.
Best experience. I think I've been overwhelmed so many times when I've received so much support from people I've known,
Yeah.
They've just come out, my friends and friends whom I don't even talk to every day. But the way they've, come out and supported me, I've been overwhelmed all the time. So I think that's one thing.
Yeah. So, your biggest challenge, or maybe the worst experience that you have seen, maybe how the people behave with you, or maybe anything that you wanna share.
Yeah, so when I started, in the social work sector, and then there's this organization I was working with, big organization. And some of the employees used to behave with me, like I can't even explain, like they thought of who are you, whatever, just go and sit
Yeah.
there and we don't want your opinion. We are telling you and you just do like that. That was their attitude. And I, coming from a law background, even though I was a first generation lawyer, I built everything from scratch.
Yeah.
There are senior lawyers that know me by my name. So, I made that self. So I made myself, out of scratch. So, when you come from there, that, and I had a name, so when you have a name in something and then you just come and you're being treated like that, you just can't take it. That, listen, I'm more educated probably than you. You can't treat me like that. So yeah, that was some not so good experience.
Yeah. So every field has some of not so good experience with everyone.
Yeah,
So, according to you, what is the best social media handle?
God. I would say Instagram only. It's quite a hot thing now, and everybody uses it, and it has so many features.
Yeah.
Um, I just
And
enjoy scrolling.
and LinkedIn is emerging.
Yeah, yeah, of course it is. But my weakness is social media. I need to really up my game.
Okay.
I'm so bad at posting.
It becomes boring at times. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So, who is your mentor?
I have many. I've been very blessed to have some very nice professors in law college,
Yeah.
who are still my mentors. And even in the legal field, there are people who were very sad when I left, that what is this stupid girl doing? But now they've come to terms, and I mean, I really love and respect them for always helping me. Um, and I think I haven't found my mentor in social work yet, but yeah.
Okay, so if you have been given a chance to make a movie, so what would be the title for it?
Movie on what? On any topic?
Yeah, matlab, whatever you wanna do for the society, or maybe anything that you wanna spread to the people. Any movie, the specific title that you want to have.
I want to do. I'm not sure with the title, but I would really want to do something on compassion.
Compassion.
Um, to tell people about being compassionate to humans and animals and living beings, and just being nice and compassionate to everyone. I
Yeah.
think that is something I want to do.
Such a nice thought. Really loved it. So our rapid fire round has been wrapped up now. So
Yay!
it was a great session. I hope we could give you the hamper if you would have been
Yeah,
guest.
I was about to ask.
So yeah, that's what we say to all our guests, because it is a virtual
I'll
thing.
send you my address. Don't worry.
Definitely. So to wrap up our interview, one last question for you will be that what will be your suggestion or advice to the youth of my age, maybe the college going students or generally the society? What is the one thing that you want them to understand and hear from you?
So when it comes to the youth and not only law students, I just want to say that please be compassionate and please be hardworking. There's no substitute to hard work. Okay,
Definitely.
and do what you really love and want to, and you'll reach your destination. Just enjoy the journey. I
Yeah.
mean, I've had so many changes in my life. I was a science student in class 11th. Then I switched to humanities in 12th. Then I took law. Then I went into social work. So everything works out in life. If you're someone who's going to about to get done with your school, there's always this jitters and you're
Yeah.
scared. Everything will be fine. Eventually, everything falls in place. Just do hard work and always do something for the society. I think in
Yeah.
whatever way you can always do something. Just give water to people who are thirsty. Yeah, that is the least we can do.
Exactly. So that was good. And one thing that I'll keep in mind from this interview will be do whatever makes you happy. So this will be my mantra
Absolutely.
now.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming and interviewing with us. It was a great
Thank
session with you. We really enjoyed it. Thank you.
thank you so much.